the editor of the Weekly Standard, Fred Barnes. Not exactly one of Trump's biggest fans, but, you know, I think you've been coming around a little bit lately, Fred, and he is now president-elect. He says Trump hasn't split the party. He's actually strengthened it. Fred Barnes joins me now, along with Democratic strategist Joe Trippi. So good to see you guys. Fred, this is the first time you and I have talked since all of this happened. You really think that Donald Trump perhaps has saved the Republican Party now, though he was seen as the guy who was going to destroy it?
Well, he certainly, at the end of the day, united the Republican Party in the election. Remember, now he got 90% of the Republican vote, according to the exit poll, which seemed impossible a couple of weeks ago, but that's what you need, 90%. And look, if it hadn't have been for Trump winning in Pennsylvania, Senator Pat Toomey wouldn't have been reelected. And the same is true in Missouri, where Trump got nearly 60%, and that reelected Roy Blunt. So he had coattails, and in some of these very vulnerable House seats, it was some in Pennsylvania. If Trump hadn't have been there, if he hadn't have won, those seats would have been lost. So here you have a guy who got 90% of the Republicans, and he had coattails as well.
You know, he dragged them kicking and screaming, I guess, along the way, all the way to the White House now, and now in control, of course, of the Senate and the House of Representatives, not to mention all the Republican governors that are, you know, in power or recently elected across the country. But I got to ask about this division that we're seeing in the country. I mean, it's remarkable to me that the very same people that didn't like Donald Trump saying the system was rigged, they're out there basically saying the same darn thing, protesting, showing an absolute unwillingness to welcome the new president of the United States. There's a hashtag on Twitter, not my president, and we've actually seen a very dark and ugly side voiced on social media from the left. And I got to ask you, Joe, because over and over and over again, the left has said it's the right. It's the right that's aggressive. It's the right that's violent. But, you know, when you read some of what they're talking about online right now, it certainly sounds like there's a very dark undertone to the left.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, there was a very dark undertone on both sides all the way through. This is one of the most negative, angry elections that I can remember in the entire time I've been involved in politics.
But they were accusing him of that. They were accusing the right of all of that. And now here they are.
Trish, can I just finish my thought? So that's true, but the reality is I think we would have seen this kind of anger break out no matter who won. Had Hillary won, I'm pretty sure all those people who heard Donald Trump say it was rigged would have responded. Now, that said, what I think is important here is Trump's victory speech that night on Tuesday, and then both Hillary Clinton and what President Barack Obama is doing in his speech, statement to the country yesterday, and in hosting so quickly Thursday this meeting with Trump.
Right.
This is part of, I mean, all of these people on both sides.
It's important. They are the leaders that community is looking to. And so they're setting the tone. They're setting the example.
Exactly.
And so far, good for them for doing the right thing. I can tell you, I was listening to the press conference there with Josh Earnest and some of the reporters, and some of the reporters were having a hard time believing what they saw. And they were sort of saying, look, you know, it was really ugly on the campaign trail. And Michelle Obama and Barack Obama, Fred, said some very terrible things. How do you just throw all that away? How do you flip the switch and suddenly say, you know, here you go, we're happy you're going to be in the White House, and really strike a different tone?
Because that's what American democracy is about. I mean, it's the same way. I mean, the President-elect Trump said a lot of horrible things about the President of the United States
and now it's all forgiven.
But
okay.
No, but I think it's forgiven because it's about the healing process that we are one country and trying to bring that together when there's so much anger
it's important.
in both sides.
It's got to be done. And, you know, look, we learned at least in New York, Black Lives Matter was involved in the organization of those protests last night. It's important for them and for others to recognize that we need to move forward as a country because, Fred, I've got to say, I don't think the parties are all so far apart in that everyone wants economic prosperity. And by gosh darn it, Donald Trump won this election because he appealed to many of the very same voters that traditionally have voted for the Democratic Party.
Well, he did, and no question about that. I think he did it by his populist agenda, particularly on immigration and trade, which appealed to a lot of working class people, some of whom are already Republicans. They'd been moving in that direction, but a lot of working class Democrats and independents as well. Now for Trump, the trick is to merge that populist agenda with the more traditional Republican agenda represented by Paul Ryan. And I think they can do that. There's every reason why they should come together.
Well, we're going to be watching. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of news coming forward these days, so we'll be on it. Thanks so much.